Moved to America in enthusiasm. It's a land of opportunities. You have always seen pictures, you have always seen videos of America, and heard about and read about America. So early 2000, when I decided to take this job in Boston area and move with.
Anand Mahurkar. He is the founder and CEO of Foundability Sciences, a Boston headquartered company or enterprise that is focused on AI. Value add skill I taught myself. What is selling for you?
Selling for me is communicating effectively.
Talk to us about building your company.
When I entered into the software world, I never thought about possibility of me setting up my own business. I wanted a freedom for innovation. That working with some companies, you get into the framework and boundaries of those companies, and you can't really do what you want to do it.
What do you think the current education system gets fundamentally wrong about preparing people for the future?
Post ChatGPT and large language models becoming very popular and easy to understand for most of the people, people think that's the AI. Whereas I say that large language model is a one tree in the jungle of AI and not the whole jungle. So all the young entrepreneurs, young professionals who are listening to this podcast should know that LLM is not the ultimate. It is one of the major technology and important technology for all of us should know. How they should get benefited, the first thing is making awareness and education about AI is very important, and that's what I talked to you in my earlier mentions, that going around universities, professionals, C-level people, boardrooms, they need training on AI.
Immigrants, every day is a beautiful day. It's your interpretation of what that day looks like that really matters. And there's always a chaos in life. It's how you take that chaos and you build that chaos into something else that matters. Follow our conversation on TikTok and Instagram at Immigrant Nation and share with your friends. At Facebook, it's the Immigrant Nation Podcast. And on LinkedIn and YouTube is the Immigrant Nation Podcast. This morning, we are speaking with Anand Mahurkar. He is the founder and CEO of Foundability Sciences, a Boston headquartered company or enterprise that is focused on AI with major operations in India and Japan, working with Fortune 500 companies across the globe. Anand is deeply engaged in applying technology for societal good. His initiative in agriculture and AI, sustainability, and education reflects a belief that innovation must address systemic challenges and empower communities at scale. Anand, welcome to the show. What is very exciting about your life right now?
So Martin, first of all, thank you for having me on this podcast. Very proud to be a first generation immigrant. So the moment I got a ping from you guys, was very excited to join this conversation. What is going on exciting? The life itself going on exciting today for me. Being just healthy, alive, able to help people around us, able to uh, fulfill my own dreams of creating a sustainable organization, meaningful employment, return on investment to customer. Those are all exciting things happening to me, Martin, today. And as I said, life itself is exciting, and I'm really grateful and glad that uh, life is happening to me today.
Excellent. So you are an immigrant from Mumbai, India, and there was a transition period from you graduating high school, going for higher education, and eventually um, becoming an entrepreneur in the US as a first generation immigrant in the US. Walk us through what those changes looked like for you and how, as an individual, you had to evolve to the man you've become today.
So Martin, as you yourself are an immigrant, and there are millions and millions of people every year transition from A place to B place, but everybody has their own stories, and so as I have my own story. Uh, Moved to America in enthusiasm. It's a land of opportunities. You have always seen pictures, you have always seen videos of America, and heard about and read about America. So early 2000, when I decided to take this job in Boston area and moved with my family, uh, with my daughter who was 3 years old. Uh, it was more passion which I got into America, but once I come here, got hit by the realities ranging from how to fill gas into the car, right? Because in India, at the gas station, the guy comes to you and they fill themselves, so you never pay attention to how do you do that. And so there was such minor struggles to
Mhm.
some major struggles to get accommodated into the society, particularly with people with colors has some challenges. But the amazing thing about America is that the way it absorbs people of different background, different uh, belief systems, different colors. So for me, it was a very interesting viewing into the society very rapidly because of my job and the company which I was working for, and had absolutely memorable time. But for us, me as my family, weather was a big challenge coming from 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Mumbai to minus Fahrenheit in Boston. uh, and so those people really you don't understand those small things, how it accumulates on you in terms of as an immigrant. But I
Mhm.
have more fond memories, Martin, and that immigration happened really well, and I saw the opportunity in this in America. I now realize that, they then realize that why it is called land of opportunities. Just the vision, the everything is so big. Everything is really thought through for next 100, 200 years. And I don't come from that background. I came from the background where living today and living tomorrow was more important than thinking about 100 years from now. So that awareness, that learnings, and that transition was very very memorable, and with great ease, with some minor challenges here and there.
So I find what you're saying very interesting because India is one of the most populous countries in the globe. And so when you come from a very crowded, competitive environment to a land that is spacious and with massive opportunity, there's a lot of excitement and confusion and in your case and my case there is cultural shock, right? Yours was filling gas in your own car, on and on and on. There's all these micro things that immigrants experience in the first few years in a country that they have migrated to. And not all immigrants across the globe are lucky like you and I to say, hey, I migrated into America. Some are lucky they migrated to Europe, and some migrated from Europe to Africa, and some migrated from um, East Asia to Europe, on and on and on, right? So migration can be diverse and in a lot of places, and in our current world it works really rapidly because communications become easy, transportations become so fast that we can find ourselves in the other end of the globe very quickly. With that being said, how do you focus and narrow your mind to the opportunities you see? Because as an immigrant you see all these opportunities and there's so much excitement, but how do you focus your efforts, how do you focus your mind so that you can be able to achieve what you want, impact the society you are in, and really create change that is necessary?
So, Martin, in my early days of immigration to America, I was lucky enough to get some mentors who first gave me one mantra, which I follow this for now almost 2 decades. Is they told me that I should not change because I have now become an immigrant into a new country. I should not forget my roots. I should not try to change it to accommodate into the new society. Yes, we should follow all the rules of the land, the law of the land, and just get viewed into the society, but not change our character and who we are. That really helped me in focusing because I didn't get distracted just as trivial thing as having an accent. Okay, just to pick up, just to feel that I belong to this place. But the beauty of the immigration is that people know that you are immigrant and you are into the new society. They welcome you if you continue to be an original person. If you try to change yourself forcefully, then what happens is that you get defocused, because you are then trying to change your identity and who you are. So what I really focused on is, didn't forget my roots, know who I am, know where I have come, know what I need to do myself. And the opportunity is basically that how do we fit into this society very seamlessly and engage this opportunity, not just for me individually, but also people around me in this society and in the globe. Because I finally, at the end of the day, feel that I'm a global citizen. Yes, I live in a land and I belong to some place, but I want to be impactful to the whole world, and this whole world is my family, and the world is my citizenship. So the focus came from really just being grounded and without forgetting who I am and what are my basics.
Mr. Mahukra, you browsed through something that's really important, and once in a while it comes in our conversations here on this platform, and that's mentorship. So I always say I was one of the people who showed up in society and in school behind everybody else and made everybody else's life possible because I was just there. I was a number, I was a body. And part of the struggle that I really struggled with for a very long time in life, really, and when I say struggling into my early 30s, was while I understood the value of education and understood the need for education, I really did not find mentors, or I was not intentional about finding mentors that I would align with and would guide me in getting to the goals, the things that I was really passionate about, and really helping me be able to be a target and to really to create my impact early in life. For immigrants who 99.9% of the time they start life in a new country a little late in life or in their mid 20s and 30s, walk us through how for you that became a priority, identifying mentors, and how you aligned yourself with them so that you can be able to stay within your boundaries, not change who you are, but above everything, be able to bring value to society.
So Martin, for me, as I said, I was lucky enough that I moved here for a job, and as I said, the immigration was late in life, with grown-up adult with a family. The mentors I found were really related to my work. Uh, there were people who taught me how American football is played, and there were people who went with me to gas station and showed me how to fill in gas. To on the other spectrum of it, to stay grounded and not change who I am. I didn't really go around look for mentors, but people who were around and associated with me at work, I converted them into my mentors by just asking right questions. So, as you rightly said, that for the immigrants, it's about just finding some comfort with people around you and ask them questions, ask them for help. And it's so miraculous that people come and help you. What happens is that when immigrants like us, when we move to another foreign countries, we try to just isolate ourselves. We try to find out people with similar background, like people like typically I see in here in Massachusetts, in Boston, all the students who are coming from India, they form groups for only Indian students.
Mhm.
Then they go and form groups of even Indian students from a specific state, or Indian students who are from talking one language. So my request to them is, then why did you immigrate? Okay, if you just want to mingle around with people of Indian origin, then you should have been better off in India. There are equally good opportunities there. So you need to create your own friends and new circle and get mentored by the people in the new land. And as I said, I was lucky enough to find those people in my work, and that's how I found mentorship, not really formally, but very informally, by asking for help and asking with some questions.
Earlier, when we were having conversations, you talked about what your passion has become now, mentoring and guiding young people so that they can be able to be all that they want to be. Um, Before we get into what that looks like, talk to us about building your company, right? What did that look like initially, and what does it look like now?
So, Martin, when I started during my engineering days, I used to always feel that I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO, I should be building my own business. I really had no idea about what that business is. I was even dreaming for starting an automobile garage to a large manufacturing company, being a mechanical engineer. When I entered into the software world, I never thought about possibility of me setting up my own business. But late 2010, when I started really getting very restless about my career, that while working at a company I have become so successful. I'm able to coin new products, I'm able to sell the new products, I'm able to get customers, I can get delivery organization. I thought, why can't I do it for myself? And the reason for doing it for myself were two threefold, not just money or not just becoming rich or being an entrepreneur. People generally think that you just get more money. Those were not my motives. My first motive was innovation. I wanted a freedom for innovation, that working in some companies you get into the framework and boundaries of those companies and you can't really do what you want to do it. So I wanted to do innovation. The second is I wanted to create employment. I thought that I have a possibility that if I succeed on my product and my ideas, I can create hundreds and thousands of people's jobs which are really quality. And I wanted to ensure that people who do these jobs, they really enjoy it, because I wanted to not do the same things which I didn't like in my employment when setting up this company. So, with those two, three foundational principles, I stepped out, set up this company. Uh, AI and data was my focus way before even ChatGPT became popular. So, I'm doing this AI for now more than 10 years. Set up this company, coined a very interesting company brand name, Find Ability, which is basically ability to find information. So how we can get data unified and access it and get unification of that data. So how it looked that time, it was, I was solo entrepreneur. I can't really even claim the typical immigration entrepreneur journey saying I started my company in garage, because I was living in an apartment and I had no garage. It was open parking outside. So I literally started this company in my bedroom. I had one corner table. I used to operate from there. Set up the company. First employee of the company was myself, and then from there built on. Got one contractor, started developing software, got my first customer, and now how it looks like, Martin, we are a Fortune magazine has rated us consecutively for 2 years as America's most innovative company. So starting from a small table on a bedroom, we are now a global company with multiple offices globally, with about 250 people working on core AI. And as you talked in the introduction, that Fortune 500 companies trusting us on the AI solutions and implementing it for their benefit is the journey. So I started alone and has now built a company which is globally recognizable in the world of AI.
So, in today's conversations, talking about AI is easy because in the last 3 years, AI has become available to most users across the globe. For me, AI is still very exciting. For you, you've probably been playing this game for more than 15 years, right? But looking at the evolution of AI to where we are today, for young entrepreneurs that are looking at AI, how can they maximize the opportunities based on the large language models that are available out there?
Martin, the first is, since you use the word large language model at the end of your question, I'll start from there. Uh, Post ChatGPT and large language models becoming very popular and easy to understand for most of the people, people think that's the AI. Whereas I say that large language model is a one tree in the jungle of AI and not the whole jungle.
Yeah.
So all the young entrepreneurs, young professionals who are listening to this podcast should know that LLM is not the ultimate. It is one of the major technology and important technology for all of us should know. How they should get benefited? The first thing is making awareness and education about AI is very important, and that's what I talked to you in my earlier mentions, that going around universities, professionals, C-level people, boardrooms, they need training on AI. Is AI going to change what we do? Absolutely. Last 30, 40 years, this whole universe of the world was dependent on knowledge economy. Martin, you and me earned our wages and salary because we knew something. I knew how to develop a software, or I knew how to sell a software, or somebody knows accounting, somebody knows law, somebody knows mathematics or physics. So that knowledge economy really built the economy of the globe, because we as a humans became knowledgeable in some part of the function of the society. That is going to get seriously impacted. So all the professionals who are thinking about large language models and etc., they should know that the knowledge economy is going to change. People who earned wages based on they knew something is now not required, because I can use a large language model and build a contract in 30 seconds, where I needed a lawyer to work for 3 days or 1 week and get me a contract. So, or just understanding an Excel sheet, building a balance sheet or profit and loss, all that things can be done by AI. So what we should know about is that what is then new for us as a humans, and what us as a humans is really trying to become more creative and using these AI tools for increasing productivity, both personal and in an organization where we work. So focus for next 2 to 3 years, it's going to rapidly change, is going to be how do we get educated about AI, and how do we use AI on our daily productivity improvements and our organization's productive improvement. So even if we focus for 2 years on that, that's the horizon. We know what's going to happen beyond 2 years. In fact, I don't know whether Martin, you heard a recent podcast between an Indian entrepreneur named Nikhil Kamath with Elon Musk. You must watch it if you're not on. And I urge also all the listeners of this podcast to watch or hear that podcast, where Mr. Musk has predicted that in next 10 years, probably the jobs would be optional. We may not need to do the jobs because the jobs will be done by AI. And that's a real possibility, because we can see now automotive cars, the car can drive itself, so we don't need probably drivers. That whole because I don't know how many millions of drivers are there on the earth who earn wages through driving. So
Mhm.
similarly, each function will get automated and will change. So coming back to your question, is that all the young entrepreneurs, professionals or students should first learn about AI and not just be hearsay, read and get fearful about it, or just use one part of AI. Try to understand the AI end to end and then practice it into day-to-day life. For now, what will happen in next 2 years? Only time will tell us.
That's exciting, but it's also truly scary. The world of change has become so micro that we can only plan in 2 year phases, maybe less.
Less.
We used to talk about a 10-year plan and then a 5 year plan, and now we're talking 2 years, and even that 2 years is doubtful, right? And I've seen these effect happening across my sphere of business. Um, and even in life, like you pick up a book and you review the book and you're like, okay, so this has changed, but how do I apply what has changed in today's life? And so if we can just step down, you and I, really, because I want to dig a little bit deeper into what you just said. You talked about the ability to be able to sell not just your product, but your services. Why, as an entrepreneur, as a parent, as an individual, is selling important? And for me, I consider selling the most value add skill I taught myself. What is selling for you?
So selling for me is really communicating effectively what product or services I have in my bag are useful to the users or the potential users. So it's about communication, and not really, because typically in the sales profession it is considered that you can lie or you can exaggerate or you can present wrongly. I disagree with all those things. So you don't need to do sales by claiming something wrong, but just communicating effectively that what you have is how it is useful for others. And that is applicable to anything and everything, ranging from why should I join you on this podcast to somebody buying my AI solution, or me going and buying something in a mall or a store. That communication is for me the sales, the effective communication.
So most entrepreneurs focus on what they want to build. For me, the real story is often about what they have had to unlearn to become. What beliefs or habits did you have to leave behind as a person to become a global influence?
So the probably the only one habit, as with my background coming in from a lower middle class family, money was the main resource, main motivation for doing everything in life, uh, till the point I started my business. And that time I decided that money is no more important, and I can somehow manage life without money. That really unshackled me to go and experiment, go and have a courage to fail, go and have courage to try. Because I meet thousands of people, they say, oh, I have a brilliant idea to start a business, but I don't have money. And that but answer really, I I probably used to do that also, but one day I decided to put that, if you want to call it habit or the trait, aside and get unshackled, and that really just unleashed me who I am. Uh, Beyond that, there is really nothing which I left behind. I just nurtured all the beliefs I had, that I have a capability to build something, I have capability to build teams, I have capability to serve customers, I have capability to build a sustainable business, and I just built upon those. But the one habit or one trait I thought I gave up was, money is the center of life, and therefore I could live without income for a number of years, just managed on whatever resources I had and build a company.
So I'm sure there's a listener out there who's like, this guy, man, does he know we live in America? Does he understand how hard life is? Does he realize that we have bills to pay? And on and on and on.
Yeah, I know their feelings, and I had the same feelings, Martin. I lived in America. I had two daughters,
Yes.
who I had to get them through school to college. I had my own family. I have my own aspirations. I also wanted a nice house, but again, this once we decide what's the focus and what you want to do it, and then things follow. Uh, you just need to get out of that habit, and then things will automatically happen. So yes, everybody has a bills to pay. That's a human life, but there are ways of paying that bill. Somebody can just remain shackled into employment and keep paying those bills without you liking your jobs or your activities. Or someone like you, why are you into this whole podcasting? So they're talking to people, is that you feel unleashed, and so as me. So but we end up paying the bills and we end up living life, so
Mr. Mahokar, this is really, really important because the underlying agent is important for us to discuss and to address, right? Two things. In the initial years, when you start delving into your passion, and your passion can be anything. Your passion can be you want to go be the top athlete in the Olympics, right? And so that requires time and dedication to do it. Also requires resources, money. Or your passion can be an entrepreneur, same thing. Same rules apply in both.
correct.
And so in a place where you had two daughters, you had a wife to take care of, you had responsibilities as the leader in your household. You obviously had to go through certain sacrifices. In the journey of going through those sacrifices, there's those who are around you. Walk us through how, as a family, you prepared your wife to support you in your endeavor because you knew this was not going to be easy. And then how you psychologically prepared yourself to give up what you had, which was reliable, to pursuing the passion that you had.
So Martin, you're so spot on that without sacrifice, really, uh, many things you can't achieve. Like you took example of an athlete, when they want to go and practice and they have to be on the ground or in the field uh, most of the day, or travel across the globe in participating in events, they have to sacrifice. And so as the same case with me, I kept few principles intact, and that was negotiable for quote unquote sacrifices was my family life, my time with my wife, my daughters, and just being at home with them uh, was the one thing I ensured through all these years, that I spent significant time with that. Yes, I did a lot of sacrifices, probably starting from my health to travel to food to some social pleasures of attending weddings or events or social gatherings or potlucks, and or friends gatherings, etc. Those were major sacrifices probably I did, but the uncompromisable was with my time with my family and my daughters. I ensured that, and I'm really proud and happy that I have done that, and therefore I could raise two very young professionals in the field at my home, and my wife and me continue to passionately support each other on our endeavors, because all of us knew that this is not done just for bread alone. It is not just for earning money or becoming rich. There is a purpose, there is a passion behind it, there is a possibility of creating employment and creating larger impact on the society. And the initial success proved all of us that this is not waste my time going into that. So yeah, probably we sacrificed some movie hall visits, we sacrificed some potluck gatherings, I didn't go. In fact, many of the social events my wife used to go alone. And one day she was asked by someone saying, "Do you have a problem with you and your husband? He's never here." And then she said, "No, no, he's traveling and he's at work." So, so sacrifices on that front, absolutely, but nothing sacrificed on the personal and family life.
Knowing what you know now, if you had to start all over again, what would you do differently?
I don't think there is anything different I would do. What happens is actually, in a journey of life or entrepreneurship, particularly, I somehow feel that if you have more knowledge, you try to not take some risk or decisions which you would have otherwise taken.
Mm.
Uh, and this is a little deep topic, Martin. Let me try to explain what I'm saying. Uh, when I jumped in as an entrepreneur, there are many things which I didn't know. Okay, and it didn't bother me, and therefore I took the decisions and went ahead. I give examples to young entrepreneurs who are about to start their businesses and they want to know about everything and be aware about all the things before they take decision. I tell them that when we were kids, jumping from the bed or a sofa or a couch, we had no knowledge of consequences. That if I jump down, my knees will get bruised or it will hurt me. We had no knowledge and we just jumped. Now, growing up, today, if someone asks you and me to jump from the bed, we will be careful. We'll say, oh no, or we'll try to be landing safe and try to take care of any potential hazard. Now, both the things are not wrong. I'm just saying that I don't think if I have to restart, I want to restart fresh with blank. Nothing, I'm carrying it from my experience, because if the moment I carry back my experience, I'm going to be controlled for taking my decisions. So I would probably just start the same way, not start anything different, because every situation is different. And by me learning over last 10 years and saying, "Oh no, I wish I would have done that differently," I can say only because I know it today. But that time I didn't know that, and I'm glad I took that decision and therefore came here. Because life is not about everything perfect and everything just a linear going up. It's
Hmm.
always up and down and up and down and up and down. As far as it is going in the right direction,
Yeah.
it's good. So I generally don't subscribe to the thought that, oh, if I go back and restart again, I will do one, two, three correct things, because it may not. Anyone I tell when I mentor entrepreneurs, I tell them that I can share my experience with you, but don't, your situation would be totally different, so don't apply what I did and is same to you, because every situation is different, every body is different, every person is different. You just need to be aware about it, but just don't gather too much of knowledge on what works and what doesn't, because something works for someone well, for someone it doesn't work well.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you've spoken about transforming education through technology. What do you think the current education system gets fundamentally wrong about preparing people for the future?
So we just talked a few minutes ago, Martin, the speed at which the technology is changing. Okay, we talked 2 years is still a long time.
Yeah.
It's probably overnight something may have happened and we're not aware. Our education system globally, not just in America or India or East Africa, globally, is not catching up the speed at which the technology and the societal changes are happening. So for example, let's talk about societal change first. So let's talk about pandemic.
Mm,
Okay, which university or college changed their curriculum post pandemic? Nobody. Okay, but pandemic has really impacted on our societies. It impacted on our health, it impacted on many things. Now we have forgotten, we feel that life is back to normal and it's as usual, but we really need to go back and see what has changed and what needs to change into curriculums. The technology, we are still teaching programming languages and even mechanical engineering or civil engineering or electrical engineering of 10-year 15-year old. There are changes happening today. So what major change we need to have is that fundamentally change the education system. And again, referring to the same podcast with Mr. Musk, Martin, when you will watch that, you will see that he also talking about going to university is going to be optional. Okay, because tell me now, a student at home having all the online resources and AI technology like ChatGPT or Gemini or etc would know probably on any topic better than going into classroom and learning. So what are we doing it in classrooms different than, like for example, my daughter who is in undergrad, she knows on almost every topic. Talk about economics or geography or politics or entertainment or movies. They know, this engaged kids know better than going into classroom. During our times there was no connected world, we had textbooks, we had to learn from it, so there was an education system designed for that time. The
mhm.
education system has to now change to accommodate the new societal and technology changes at much larger speed than what our universities are tuned to do it.
So right there, if you had the opportunity today to redesign, to change education, what would you do immediately? And I'm asking these questions because there's immigrants' parents who are out there who understand that AI is rapidly changing the globe. They want to get their children ready. They want to make sure that their children become competitive in the near future and in the market that we're going into. So, based on your knowledge base, your experience, and how you see the future, what would change?
So the fundamental thing should change into our families, societies, communities, and then into education system is that post high school, uh, we need our new students and kids to develop the skills. And I'll step back and Martin again share with you Ginny Rometty, the then CEO of IBM. When President Trump, for the first time when he became the president, she had written a letter to him, which is in a public domain. You can search and look up for that letter. And he had written to Mr. Trump saying that we in America don't need any more blue collar jobs or white collar jobs, but we need new collar jobs. And this new collar job definition needs to be adopted by families, societies, communities, and educationists. That we can't train students or young entrepreneurs or young kids onto one skill of becoming just an electrician or becoming a plumber or becoming a maintenance engineer, or on the other side white collar jobs like a legal or accounting, or they need to become new collar job people, and therefore it has to blend with the practical training on the changed professions. So for example, to be very specific, if you're saying that you are sending your kid to a law school and just learning law is not sufficient, they need to learn law along with AI. Okay, how AI technology, so they need to be technologists as well, and that's the new collar job. It's not just a legal that you know every chapter and every legislation and every clause of any document, but you also need to know how technology is impacting onto that profession, and you need to be practitioner of that. So all the immigrants who are worried about AI or who wants to know how their kids profession is going to change in future, it is dramatically going to change, Martin. I wish this podcast remains into the digital domain for a decade at least, and people will read our forecast that the professions are going to change, and the education system and our basically it will start with families. I don't blame on government and education systems more. I think we at our homes, our kids should know both technology as well as the specific profession they are getting into, and that amalgamation of both of that is important for the upcoming generation.
Anand Mahurkar, tell our listeners where they can find you on social media, please.
Oh, okay. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so all can go and look up my name on LinkedIn, Anand Mahurkar, and that's where I am mostly available. People can interact with me there. I generally keep updates onto it. That's the only social media I use, and I'm very active on social media.
Fantastic. So, scaling a company across multiple countries requires understanding of very different cultures and markets. What leadership lessons did you learn while building a company operating in the US, India, Japan, and on and on?
I think you studied it very well that working in this globe, we need to be knowledgeable about every culture, every society, every country, every community. The leadership quality is we should be so agile and nimble, and you should be so aware to be not stand out in the crowd when you are moving from A location to B location. So to give you just an example, the mannerisms in Japanese meetings, whereas the mannerisms in American meetings in America and the mannerisms in India in Indian meetings are totally different. And just taking a simple example, like let's for the listeners, it will be a very funny example, but when you hand over the business card, okay, how do you give your visiting or business card when you enter into the meeting? In Japan, it's a ceremony before starting a meeting. You have to stand up, you have to have both your hands holding the card, not only just holding the card, but the way it is held also, because your name and your company name, etc., should be visible to the person who is receiving it. And then you are supposed to walk them through that I am Anand Mahurkar, I am the CEO of Foundability Sciences, and then hand over the card. It's a ceremony. Whereas you enter into American boardrooms and meetings, people just sit across the table and just throw the card and saying, this is my card, this is my card, this is my card. When you go in India, unless you ask for cards, nobody gives you a card. Okay, so these are the very small nuances, but you should not get uncomfortable because you know only one way. Okay, you need to be observant, and the leadership quality is really because you can't know this everything in advance. You have to just learn by practice, learn by experience.
Yeah.
So the most leadership quality in the working while globally is just be aware, keep your ears, eyes open, be aware, and just enjoy this differentiation. That the difference is not deficiency. Okay, the difference is only because that's the way the human communities are built. So what is followed in Japan and India and America can be different. So enjoy that, and not be opponent of it or not be rigid with your own ideas. Be just nimble and flexible. That's the leadership quality which really helped me in expanding it globally.
Very interesting. So, Findability Sciences grew through strategic partnerships, including JVs with SoftBank, on and on and on. What role do partnerships play in any entrepreneur's life, and especially when it comes to building a global brand?
So in this new complex world which we talked last 30-40 minutes, Martin, one of the things which all of us should know that we can't do everything alone. Okay, so if one entrepreneur understands that you cannot be end to end doing everything on your own, and you need different people to partner with you to make the wholesome game. You can be good at one thing. It's like a sports game. Okay, why do we need so many positions and players in a game? It's only because everybody possesses different skills, and different capabilities. So we need to identify our own capability, and it's really important to have the partnerships in different segments based on where you need help, ranging from global presence to very specifically technology capability you need to supplement with it, growing the business, having number of different skills to join you. So the most important thing in partnership is that you should be aware that you cannot do it alone. You need to identify the gaps where you need someone to come and help you, but also where you are strong that should be useful to others, and then only that partnership succeeds. It cannot be that I have a strength and somebody has a strength and the same strengths come together. That will not become a successful partnership. But I have a weakness and somebody has a strength and they can complement me, will make the partnership success.
Talk to us about partnership on a personal basis, right? Partnering with mentors, partnering with a business partner to be able to become impactful. When you have an idea, when do you identify when you need to bring a partner based on a certain need?
So when it comes to the individual basis, it's little different, Martin. And I coach entrepreneurs who say that, oh, I want to start a business, but I don't have a co-founder. Okay, why are you looking for a co-founder is a very important thing for you to understand, because if you are convinced about an idea and if you want to do the business, you need to really understand, like as I talked about in business partnerships at a personal level also, what are my shortcomings and how someone else can fulfill that. For example, some tech entrepreneurs tell me that they can't really sell, so they need co-founder who has a capability to sell, which are good ideas and to partner. But what I have seen in the personal partnership arena is that you need to first know who you are. Okay, because not all partnerships, if you see the most of the entrepreneurial failures are the fights between the partners. Okay, or they finally separate their ways because the priorities are different. Somebody wants to earn money, somebody wants to build a company. So knowing who you are, really, can you work with different types of people, and do you really need partnership or not, is an assessment one can do it. There are benefits and there are problems also with individual partnerships, but I say that first your strong partnership should be at home. Your parents, your spouse, your siblings, your partners. Once you have that partnership established, you are going to get a great foundation to build your entrepreneur. Outside, really, you decide whether you have an option to have personal partnerships or not.
Mr. Mahukra, you have to come back. You have to come back because you're just starting to burn in passion. And I'm like, come on, we're running short of time. But let's talk about one of your other passions, agriculture. You've invested energy into applying AI to agriculture. Why do you believe agriculture is one of the most important sectors for technological innovation right about now?
So, Martin, let's think about, we talked about earlier in this conversation that we will have no jobs in next 10 years. Okay, so if we don't have a job, but finally it's a human body, we need to feed it. So we need food. Okay, and everything. So today, if someone takes away everything from us, the only thing they probably will not be able to take away from us is the food, because we will not survive. So agriculture is now going to be, and is already, the critical element of the future of human societies.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two is that the amount of encroachment we have done on the nature in terms of constructions, the buildings, the farmlands are vanishing, the topsoil is going away. Really, really scary environment in terms of how humans are going to produce the food. And Martin, we are already 7 billion or 8 billion people on the earth, going to about 10 billion or 12 billion in some few years. How do we feed so many people with a shrinking land, with reducing quality of the agriculture? And we need to have human bodies which are healthy. The only solution for that is technology, because we can't produce new land. We can't produce something new, better soil, because that's a gift from the nature. We can just protect it, we can't create something new. So the only thing is that how technology can help us in producing more in these shrinking resources. It's a very complex dynamics. We want more, but our resources on agriculture are shrinking. Just taking the land mass on which we can produce agriculture is reduced dramatically. Look at the cities. Just even in living in America, you know that how the cities have grown around you in last 10 years. The
Mhm.
number of buildings coming up, the number of malls coming up, the number of roads we are constructing, that takes away the land from us. So therefore technology is very critical. And plus the climatic changes. The third point is that the dramatic change in the climate is also impacting in our ability to produce. Technology potentially has the solution to all these three issues, and that's where I'm passionate. And in my company we have built a lot of tools and technologies which is going to help an individual farmer to a large producer.
I am very convinced that you believe AI can help solve global challenges like food insecurity, climate resilience within the next generation. What part should immigrants play there?
Huge, because immigrants are the only possibility. Not that I'm saying, because when you look at the whole earth as one block, okay,
Mhm.
let's not look at the boundaries. Okay, they, yes, immigrants are moving from one boundary to another boundary just for opportunities, possibilities, different area to live, but it's finally one earth. And we are talking this climate resilience, agriculture, we are talking about earth problems and not as very country specific problems. But the immigrants move help because these are new challenges, and these new challenges and new technology needs people with courage. And Martin, if you really see what is common between all the immigrants is courage. Because for humans it's not really easy to leave something behind, your family, your town, your language, your identity, and get into a new society for finding something better. That mindset itself is a very important in solving these new challenges, because people who are in comfort of what they are in a status quo, they are not the people who will be able to solve. So I'm not saying that immigrants only to America. As you already talked about, the immigration is happening all over. Okay,
Mhm.
it's everywhere. Everybody's going in the pursuit of something new.
Yes.
But that happens only with people who have courage. Okay, the only who have no fear. Even if they have anxiety, they override onto it. Like for you and me, it was not easy to come to America, right? While
No.
everybody feels at this end of the world is beautiful and good. Yes, it is. But leaving our family, leaving our parents, leaving our siblings, leaving our society, leaving our, like me and my wife came with two suitcases. That's all belongings we had when we moved into America. We left everything back in India. So though that mindset is going to help solving the new challenges.
Your company has focused on helping organizations unlock the power of AI and big data. If you're looking at immigrants, who majority of them are in the service industry and they're running small enterprises, but they're looking to survive in the business world in the near future that is radically changing and dramatically changing, really. How do they take advantage of their business data and maximize the use of it? How do they identify what that is also?
So you talked about two sectors, the service. You are right that most of the immigrants come to do or serve and do some job. We need to split that into two areas. As I talked about the knowledge economy,
Mhm.
people who are servicing in the area of knowledge. Okay, people who are engineers, who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are accountants, they need to really be now aware that then their profession is changing and probably is going to get eliminated by technology. So they need to really learn these new tools, get up to the speed, and potentially even change their careers if needed. The second service area is into the with the skills, hand skills, not the knowledge. A plumber, for example, just to articulate, or an electrician, or a builder, somebody is building houses.
Hmm.
For them, it's now going to be how do they improve their productivity. Their jobs are not at risk, because we'll still need an electrician to come and help us fix our electricity at home. So the electrician, the plumbers, the builders, the people who are working in the factories, they need to know how AI is going to help them on their personal productivity increases. So that education is important. And now talking about the entrepreneurs or small medium entrepreneurs who are running, let's say, food cart, or a small spa, or a restaurant, or a medical shop, whatever these small things they're doing, their data is important asset for them, and they need to again learn these AI tools to make it their business more cost effective, offer better service, and stay afloat in the business. Otherwise, they are going to get wiped out with the new technology wave which is coming in.
What is the one thing that you were hoping we would talk about that we've not discussed at the moment?
So, as you rightly said, that probably we'll have to get together again on topic, talking about many things. But just as a since we this is very focused on the immigrants, how they are helping the societies and etc. I think the one topic we can probably just touch upon to conclude this, at least today's session, and we should regroup again in probably series, taking each of this topic and really talking, giving our listeners a lot of nuggets into how these things evolve, is really creating employment. Because I think we, as immigrants into various countries, how interestingly we impact in generating employment, whether it is a small shop, as you talked about, just starting a restaurant, but you are recruiting 4 more people to serve in that restaurant, and that's a contribution to the society. Increasingly, I think we all should focus on ability to create jobs, and that is probably the best contribution we can do to societies, our new adopted nations, or just total earth, because that is more sustainable and that is more going to stay here longer than we just pulling some $10 and giving someone a donation. Even if we are talking about our countries of origin, typically people who immigrant and get a little bit wealthy, they think about giving some donations and making some contributions to the societies they left. I would say that instead of that, focus on how can you create employment, either in East Africa or in India or in Asia or anywhere. And that should be the focus of all the immigrants, creating employment.
Mr. Mahurkar, it's been a pleasure. I am going to be respectful of your time, but my goodness, I still have so much more to talk about. Thank you. Thank you so much for making the time and for helping immigrants be able to see what tomorrow looks like. Before we sign off, please tell our listeners one more time where they can find you on social media.
So, Martin, thank you for having me. I hope all the listeners are going to enjoy this and look forward for our one more podcast. But they can find me on LinkedIn. They can look for my name, Anand, Anand, last name Mahurkar, Mahurkar. And when you look up on LinkedIn, you can send me a LinkedIn request and we can talk there.
Fantastic. If you're following this conversation on TikTok and Instagram, it's at the Immigrant Nation. Facebook, the Immigrant Nation Podcast, LinkedIn and YouTube, the Immigrant Nation Podcast. Mr. Anand Mahurkar is the founder and CEO of Foundability Sciences, a Boston headquartered company. Thank you, sir, for making the time for us. His enterprise as an AI company with major operations in India and Japan, working the future, building and helping Fortune 500 companies continue to maximize their opportunities. Sir, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and we want to say thank you for making the time for us.
Thank you very much, Martin. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.